This is Murph from Dinosaur Jr. and you're listening to 89 FM Radio Rock.
Fala galera, beleza? Eu sou o Wendell Correia e hoje eu vou conversar com o Murph, o baterista da banda Dinosaur Jr. Eles acabaram de lançar novo álbum chamado Sweep It Into Space. Vão fazer turnê também, então vou trocar essa ideia com ele falando sobre isso e muito mais com exclusividade para 89 a Rádio Rock.
So how are you, Murphy?
Good.
How have you been during these crazy days we're living in this couple of years?
I don't, it's Western Massachusetts. It's funny. It's not that different. I mean, it is, but we all kind of live pretty solitary lives anyway. I think for Lou, it's not too different because he stays at home. I think Jay was affected the most because he's so social. They have a lot of visitors because he has a big house and he has a lot of people come stay. So I think it was harder for him. It affected him a lot. I mean, it just feels like a really long break from touring. That's really what it felt like, is like a super long break because now things are starting to open up and get back to normal. So yeah, it just feels like we took an extended break off touring.
Now you're going to tour soon in a couple of months. What do you expect from the audience and yourselves? You think people will have even more energy than before?
Oh, I think it's going to be crazy everywhere. I think the world, it's going to be really nuts. Like when the big festivals start getting up and running, I think it's going to be just crazy. Like for the next 2 years, it's just going to be just crazy. And there's going to be like so many bands touring all the time. Like it'll just be like crazy.
And you've been in Brazil, right?
Yeah.
What do you remember from our country?
The food. We always have really good food. We spent a bunch of time in Recife on the coast, and the promoter had like a local restaurant, so we just went to the same. It was like this really great restaurant, and we were just eating like great food every single day. And it was just fun. It was cool. We've always had really great shows in Brazil. Brazil especially, because I was in the Lemonheads and I got to go first with the Lemonheads and tour, and it was just so much fun. It's always been like a really good time, good shows.
Do you intend to come back when we are good?
Oh yeah, I think definitely, yeah. Yeah.
And now you've just released the new album, Sweep It Into Space. How was the process of writing and recording this album?
I mean, this was strange for a couple reasons. One, we do the drums first. That's always the first thing, is the drums, and then everything gets layered on top. And the drums take about 2.5 months. And right when I finished the drum tracks is when the pandemic hit. So Jay had to kind of finish the record solo by himself. We had some bass parts. Lou was able to do most of the bass, but really Jay had to kind of finish the record himself. And so that was, strange. We don't usually do that. And then also because we had Kurt Weill for some of this record to come in and hang out, co-produce, he just kind of would come in. He only came in 3 different times, but it was just having that made such a huge difference. Just having someone like him there was just huge. And I think that's why the record sounds a little different than the other records.
And do you have a favorite track?
There's a few. I like the first track, I Ain't, simply because like we're starting to play some of the new songs. And so it's more about when we finish a record and it comes out, it's more about what songs do I like live, because not everything translate. We don't play everything live. If there's keyboards and different things, that doesn't really work live. So for now, and this will probably change, if you asked me 6 months or a year from now, I would have a different song. But for now, I would say the first track is one of my favorites.
And there's a curious name track, I Met the Stones.
Yeah.
And
that's another really, that's probably my second favorite. That's really fun too.
And on the track Take It Back, some influences by Keith Richards, is that right?
Yeah, I mean, Jay's a huge Rolling Stones fan, like huge. He listened when he was young. Yeah, Rolling Stones has a massive influence. Charlie Watts, Rolling Stones. Probably his two, his two main influences are Led Zeppelin and Rolling Stones, I would say, for rock music.
And do you have a favorite band? A band that when you first hear it, it changed your life forever?
For me, it was like Deep Purple, Black Sabbath, and then like Billy Cobham, this jazz fusion drummer, Billy Cobham, probably. Those were the three things that really shaped my musical, my tastes, what I like.
And the first instrument you play was drum as well, or do you begin with another one?
No, I always play drums. Yeah.
Yeah. And on the talking about the art cover, there is a kind of animal on the art cover that also appears on the Take It Back video. What means the art cover?
Well, this one was done by a guy, Andy Hope, 1930. He's from Berlin, German artist, and I think Jay's brother-in-law and Jay's wife, because they're German, I think, found them, and Jay liked him. And the painting actually already existed. It wasn't like he painted this for the record. It was there, and Jay asked him, "Can I use the painting, the picture for the record?" And he said, "Sure," and so that's how that happened. But we've talked about this in other interviews, how it's funny because it just seems like something that would be on a Dinosaur Jr. record.
And it's a really fun video, you doing air drum. It's fun when you see a really drummer doing air drums.
Yeah, I wasn't like super psyched on that. I mean, that was more Lou has been doing a lot of video stuff at home, like during the pandemic. He just does a ton of stuff, like his solo stuff, and he's always on Facebook and posting stuff on YouTube. And so I think he just wanted to try to make like a Dinosaur Jr. video. It was winter, and it was still like pandemic, but we thought, let's see if we can do this on an iPhone, like make a video. And so that's what that was. It was more like just an experiment. Like, can we pull this off and do a video in the middle of winter on an iPhone?
Dinosaur Jr. influenced a lot of bands, and you guys have a really loyal fan base all over the world. And when I read the comments of your video and your social media, what do you think is the biggest legacy of Dinosaur Jr. for rock and roll?
I don't honestly, I don't think we know. I don't know. That's we just put stuff out there and hope people like it. I mean, we tend to play shows like we used to play them back in 1988. We just play every show like, like as hard as you can, like it's your last show. Play every show like it's your last and just do your best. And we've always done that. And I think that shows through to the fans maybe. But I don't know. I guess you'd have to ask the fans. I have no idea.
I don't know if you know that, but I was born in the early 90s. And when I first started hearing the grunge scene, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, my oldest friends say, "Oh, you need to hear Dinosaur Jr." They begin before then. So
Yeah.
you guys are really respected here in Brazil.
Oh, cool. Thanks.
Yeah. So that's why I wanted to ask about this legacy of Dinosaur Jr. for rock and roll.
It's funny because a lot of people don't know, like a lot of new fans are always like, "Oh, you guys just came out like recently or in the 90s." Like they don't realize we were like way back, they think we're more like recent or something. So it's funny.
And what is the secret for this longevity?
I don't know. Boredom, like we just don't want to be bored. We got to keep the ball rolling. It's like, what else are we going to do? You do something so long that you just figure you might as well keep it going, and we're getting better. Like we have a formula that you kind of over the years starts developing, and it just gets better. It makes it kind of easier to keep going. It's just kind of like, you're just in a momentum and you just keep that motion going. And so, yeah, I think we'll just keep doing it until we can't do it.
And what are you on your playlist now? Do you listen to new bands?
I don't really. I listen to mainly talk radio. I hate to say it. I just like a couple Casey Musgrave songs I heard again. Like that record was really big when it came out. and won all these awards. And I don't know why I got like totally obsessed with Slow Burn and High Horse were the two songs that I was like listening to on the radio the other day. And they're just, it's not really typical of what I listen to. I just once in a while I get struck with something and I'm like, you know, and then like another band, somebody just mentioned the Cocteau Twins and I hadn't thought about them. They were huge in high school. We were really into this band, the Cocteau Twins from England. So it just depends, you know, it depends kind of on the month, on the week. I don't have a specific playlist or something that I go to.
And what changed for best and what changed for worse on the musical industry since you began?
I think what's better is you can access stuff like everybody could, you can, if you're motivated, you can put stuff online and people can see it and you can promote yourself. But at the same time, music to me is like become like fast food. It's like disposable, you know, it's like you get your music and then you throw it out and you're on to the next band, the next thing. It's like a fad, you know, it's not very lasting. And that's, I feel like when we were doing it, it was it just seemed more genuine. The quality was a little better. Now the stuff I hear, like a lot of the new rap stuff and a lot of the new pop stuff that kids are into, I'm like, man, I don't even write songs, but I think I could write a better song than that if I tried. I mean, it's like horrible. And I'm like, wow, I'm kind of blown away, but you know, what are you gonna do?
I enjoyed that you guys, bands like Dinosaur Jr. are doing full albums, you know, because there are a lot of EPs are just single. And I enjoy
Yeah.
when they're full album, you know, the concept of the album.
Yeah.
Do you listen to streaming?
Yeah. I mean, some, yeah. Yeah. We all, you mean like Spotify and stuff? You're
Yes.
talking about, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We have that. And Jay's really into he's obsessed with like Howard Stern on satellite radio. So he listens to like, he'll ride his bike and he has like a little Bluetooth speaker on his bicycle where he'll listen to Howard Stern while he's riding his bicycle.
I have some quick question that I want to do for you. It's all about music, your preference as a musician. And who is your drum hero?
I mean, there's so many. It's, you know, Keith Moon was a big influence, Mitch Mitchell from Jimi Hendrix, Billy Cobham, Ian Pace from Deep Purple. I could go on. There's so many, but those are probably the big ones for me.
And the greatest album of all time, in your opinion?
I mean, because I learned to play drums to the record, it was Jimi Hendrix, Axis Bold as Love was probably one of my go-to favorites because I learned almost every song. That was like how I learned to play drums, was a lot of that record.
And the first music you remember hearing?
The radio, like pop radio. My sisters and I, we were really young. We used to sing all the songs on the radio together when I was like, you know, 11 years old. And then my first big concert was in New York at Madison Square Garden. I got to see Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young when I was 12 years old. And I remember I was like, it was pretty cool.
Yeah. And your Saturday night party song?
I don't know. Again, it changes. I don't know. Like last week it was Casey Musgraves. Next week it could be Black Flag, like TV Party, and the week after that it could be like U2's Beautiful Day.
And the last one, the song that makes you cry?
Oh God, probably any Joni Mitchell song off Court and Spark. Like any of those songs are just like, oh my God, yeah. That was a big record for me, I think.
Thanks so much, Murphy. Appreciate it.
89, a Rádio Rock.